I believe that the reason God created man was for management.
Really? I have never heard it put that way.
The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself.
God will never allow growth where there is no management.
Wow, wow, wow.
So instead of praying for things from God, pray for the management ability.
Everything I tell you is true. Everything I open my mouth and I say is correct because heaven directs me on what to say. Eligwe, Zemos and Zendidendo. Heaven will tell me and I will tell you it will come to pass in front of your eyes. Not behind you, you will see it happening.
God will withhold things from you if you cannot manage them.
When you look at the facts that something around 1 million people perished as a result of the actions of the British and Russian and Nigerian federal governments.
Vis-a-vis what we see in Nigeria, which is truly not, it should not be surprising. Look, what's happening in Nigeria is barbarous. It's horrible. I mean, it's complete madness, yet it's not a priority. The United States unilaterally could do almost anything it needs to do. It would be a long-term effort, but it could be done. And the United States has the capability. All the elements of power, we have those.
So why not?
It's not a priority. That's the problem. We are committed elsewhere in the world. Black West Africa is not a priority.
Anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
Excuse me. They can't tell me. No way. When the time comes, it's okay. What stupid country is this? So when it's this, you try somebody's secret? When you like, you try a secret? When you like, it's in public? What stupid country is that? What stupid country is that, I ask you? When you like, you try in secret. When you like, you try in private. They are killing my people. 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 After killing my people, you tell me to tell the secret? The person is mad. Completely mad. Tell Buhari, that's what I said. That he is mad. He cannot tell me. He cannot tell me. He's a madman. There's a contempt of court proceedings here. Contempt of court. They don't obey court order. They don't obey court order. You're telling me secret trial. Is the person mad?
I, Nnamdi Kanu, will sacrifice anything sacrificable to make sure that Biafra comes.
We hereby declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra-land. This no election in Biafra-land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election in Biafra-land.
of discovery. It means to bring to light something that is buried on the ground. If you can accept that, then you know that Biafra is coming. There is nothing man can do about it. It's too late. Way, way too late. The countdown has begun. It is another weekend. I think this should be the second weekend for January 2023. Today is the 14th of January, and I want to welcome you Saturday, precisely 14th of January 2023. We have just spent precisely 2 weeks in the new year, and I know that it's been good for you. It's going to get better for us as much ahead and as we move ahead in getting our freedom. I want to welcome you live to the program today, Biafra Global Network, the NUGGET conference program, where we are going to rub minds. We're going to discuss details and information of facts around us, and of course the facts that we have discussed and analyzed during the week. Today is a special day because it marks the 50th day to our freedom. You know what 50 represents? It's like a golden jubilee. We have 50 days left to exit Nigeria, where the real action will begin. But we have so many information coming in. We have so many things happening around that we must get our people acquainted and get our people alert about. And that is why we keep sensitizing and making sure that we carry the gospel of truth all around. I don't know. I actually initially I wanted to begin, but I had a disruption, so I had to restart the program because it was a kind of hanging from here. And I know that the network signal these days is so bad that you just wonder what is happening. Is it an attack or something? But I know that they can't stop us. We are marching to our freedom. We are going ahead, and definitely we shall make it all through. I want to tell you this day that so many things are happening, and there are so many security information coming in. If you are on Twitter and you're on the post of you are connected following Mazi Samanepa, you have heard some of the information. This evening he's going to be analyzing the story of Burundi sending troops of over 10,000 people, mercenaries, on behalf of the Nigeria contraption and the British enterprise called Nigeria. You know that they know that we have won. We are winning the battle. They can't fight Biafrans. They can't use Oduduwa people again against Biafrans. They can't use maybe Hausas also against Biafrans. They can't use the Middle Belt against, of course, they can't use them against Biafra. And so what they are doing is they are now seeking for help from other countries, especially where Fulanis are dominant. We know that we're fighting a war with Sudan because that is where Boko Haram began. That is where Al Qaeda trained their men. That is where Osama bin Laden trained Al Qaeda people, and then they now split it when he was sent away from Sudan. That is when they now split it. Some stayed in fighting, some were sent into other parts of Africa, and some became Boko Haram and they were sent into Nigeria. They have always designed it that Nigeria is the headquarters for the Fulani nation, and they have said that they are going to decimate everybody and either subjugate them or kill them majorly, take over their women, take over their lands, and see that they are in control of that side of Africa where Fulanis will see as their permanent residence or location or territory. And that is the plan, but they targeted the wrong people. They actually came to take the land of God's people, Biafrans. And that is where they made a mistake, a very fundamental mistake they have made. And that is why they have lost, and that is why they will all become manure in the fertile land of Biafra. And this is critical because when you come against God's people, you know, you are not going to go scot-free. I want to welcome you all from Burundi. They are sending their men from Burundi. No matter the number of fighters Burundi send, the message is none of them will return from Biafra-land. Yes, none of them will leave Biafra-land alive. We assure them of that. None of them will leave Biafra-land alive.
You see, these people don't know what is coming. They don't know what they are coming against. It's just like Pharaoh coming against God's people, the children of Israel. He never knew. He thought he had the men. He thought he had the chariots. He thought he had everything. He thought he had the weapon. So, of course, he was the world power then. He was the super world power then that was in charge or in control of Israel, dominating Israel as at that time. You know, those days when you hear of empires, of course, there are so many empires, but if you hear of basic world empires, they are those ones who oppress Israel, who were controlling Israel at a particular time. They are actually, you know, those are the empires the scripture talks about, or Bible talks about. I'm referring to the world empires that dominate Israel and have been dominating the nation of Israel. And today we are under serious domination from the extension of Roman Empire, which is the British Empire. They subjugated us and they took us into a confinement called amalgamation, keeping us static, keeping us restricted, keeping us stationary, and keeping us immobile and dormant. And we became a dormant nation in spite of our gifting, our talents, and aptitudes, of course, and the things that we are loaded with. We couldn't express our ability to be creative. We couldn't actually do the things we need to do to grow and to become number one in the world. Rather, we were dispersed all over the nations of the world when they came against us, when Britain, Russia, and other countries came together, including Egypt, came together and they caused genocide of Biafra people. And they thought they are going to exterminate us and take over our land, but they couldn't do that. And today we are stronger. We have come to retake what belonged to us. And that is our freedom. And that is what we have come to do. So on this note, I want to welcome you wherever you are watching from. I want to thank you wherever you're watching from. Of course, Kadibia, Noeline, Afore, Emmanuel, Clement, Aneto, Chinyere MC, Dana, Ogunbiade, and Biafra Tech, and FedTech, and of course all of you, and those of you who are watching from wherever you're watching, please, as much as you come in, just like the video, because you need this information to go far. I'm going to be telling you some particular things critical on security, and of course to make you understand also the aspect of security that is crucial, which we were discussing 2 days ago, and which we made some also exposition on yesterday and during the Alliance program with the Oduduwa Nation. And I want to make you understand here that the issue of freedom is static. It is not movable. You can't move it. The issue of our freedom is not something you are going to negotiate with us about. If you are considering whatever means you're considering, just consider the fact that we are living a contraption, Nigeria. It is going to be a foolish thing for any kinds of people to think that they are going to stay together in the same room with those who want to kill them. How can you sleep on the same bed with someone you know wants to kill you? How can you stay under the same shelter or the same covering with someone you know actually wants you dead? It's critical, and because common sense tells you that when someone wants you dead, it's either you get them dead as self-defense because they're coming to attack you, or you stay away, you run away from them to secure yourself. That is what common sense says. But in the context of Nigeria makes you lose common sense, and so Nigeria is a situation where your sensual ability to reason is in comatose. So when it comes to Nigeria, you don't have the ability to reason, because as a Nigerian, you are not reasonable. That's factual. And that is why when you hear somebody says, my fellow Nigerians, like I see Peter Obi today posted on Twitter, fellow Nigerians, and I see most of the people coming, our country, Nigeria, they want to destroy our country, Nigeria, and all of that. I see people who lack sense, who don't have the capacity to reason. Because in the first place, you should know, as somebody who is reasonable, that the name Nigeria is not a name of a nation. It's a name of a business, a company. And that company is hijacking. That company is very massive because it hijacks the destiny of nations and hold them to ransom, keeping them under the name of the company, and operates with that name to deceive the world, deceive the people, and deceive, the nations that they are a nation. and to deceive people all over the nations, to make them feel that this business name is holding nations to ransom. So because it is holding nations to ransom, it has automatically become a nation. And of course, there's no way you can talk about Nigeria and equating it to the concept of nationhood, because nationhood entails the concept of ties, people bound by common ties, with common ties. And when you talk about ties, you can say the nation, the Yoruba nation, the people of the Oduduwa nation, they are bound with common ties. If you look at Biafra, you say those are bound with common ties. You look at the Hausa nation, you say they are bound with common ties. But when you look at Nigeria, there's no common tie. Where is the common tie? What do you talk about? Do we have equal language? No, we don't have the same language. Do we eat the same food? No. Do we have the same principles? No. Do we worship the same God? No. Do we have the same cultural disposition? No, we don't have the same. So that critically proves that we are not compatible and we are not a nation, because you must talk about a nation by talking about people bound together with common ties. When you look at the different traditional operations of the Oduduwa nation, no matter where they are from, whether they are from, Ogun, whether they are from, no matter where they are from, you can tell that these ones have a common tie along the line, along the line. When you look at Biafra nation, yes, we might have different languages which have similarities, and of course but you can tell some cultural and values that are intact, that proves that we have common ties. And these are the facts about nationhood. And of course, a country is a nation. So you can't say Nigeria is a country, because still it doesn't have the definition of a nation. And you can say Nigeria is a state, because you talk about a nation, you can talk about a state based on the fact that it becomes a nation first before it becomes a state. Because in the state, at the point of becoming a nation, you are already having a tie. And then as a tie, you have a common interest. And having a common interest, then you can now begin to talk about common laws that regulates your operation as a nation based on the common interest that you have. And based on that common interest, you can have a government who can execute those laws, because it is formed out of or born out of the concept of collective responsibility, collective notion, collective interest. And so all of these things are factual, and that is why you can never at all at any time see Nigeria as a nation, or as a country, or as a state. So how do you want to define it? It's just simple business. But Nigerians find it hard to comprehend. And that is why I showed you the other time. I showed you a video of Patutomi and others working. And in spite of their academic level, their academic disposition, and how much they're able to open schools everywhere, Lagos business schools, it only portrays their academic ability, but it does not portray their intellectual capacity. Because for the fact that you go learn into somebody else's intellectual design, because everything you learn under academics is somebody's intellectual design. They created it from their mind and they put it as curriculum for institutions to study. They are somebody else's design. So when you go there to learn, doesn't mean that you have the capability of reasoning. You can learn academically what somebody else's intellectual capacity have been able to design, but you cannot learn to be intellectual. You can only become intellectual by being conscious of your intellectual capacity through the spiritual notion of responsibility. That means your subconsciousness, your intuition, and all of these are alert to the fact that you have this criticalness connected to the realm of the spirit, where you receive revelation of the things you know from the realm that you don't even know, from the realm of mystery. And so that is where information comes. So the soul realm that is linked to reasoning and becomes effective when you actually have a woken extent of sensitive connection to the realm of the spirit. And these are the things we're talking about, and that is the fact. I hope I'm not going too deep anyways, because we are going to discuss. Now, I want to bring you first, before I begin to go into the teaching properly, as Kadibia said, that, I should bring the lectures on today. And yes, I'm going to do that, my brother. I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm going to do that today. But let me first give the news. Master Samonepa has already given part of the news. We have over 20,000 fighters. That's the Nigeria contraption, not nation. Please pardon me for that. That's grievous error I wanted to make now, and blunder by calling Nigeria a nation. It's a very huge blunder. It's a slip of the brain. Not slip of the tongue this time around, slip of the brain. Now, it's evident that once you claim to be a Nigerian, automatically your sense ceases to function. And when you push for yourself to defend Nigeria, you make a fool of yourself. My brother, that is accurate. You have just stated it accurately, Emmanuel Afure. That is the fact. When you try to reason as a Nigerian, you just make fool of yourself. Because at the point of reasoning, you only operate in your will to be foolish. Because your sensual ability to reason is in comatose. It is dormant. It is redundant. It is redundant. It is not functional. How can you utilize? How can you talk about reasoning or being sensible in what you say or what you do when your thinking faculty is dormant? You need your thinking faculty to be active for what you say and the things you do to be reasonable. And so that is why you see that every Nigerian find it hard to be reasonable, because their thinking faculty is restricted, dormant, static, stational, brutalized, and bullied into a corner based on the syndrome that the Nigeria template brings. How can Fulani be in control of you and you can reason? How can you reason when cows are controlling you? Cows are teaching you. Thank you, my brother. I'm Simon, all the way from Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining. I want to appreciate everyone too who is here. I may not be able to go through our messages because people have been telling me that you waste time when you read these messages over and over. We are all saying these messages. Why read them again to us? So I've just learned my lesson so that I don't waste people's data and waste people's time reading the messages they can see again. But I only want to see some particular messages that concerns what I should analyze and then talk about them. So I appreciate you all. So please pardon me if I don't read messages, and that is factual about what we're saying. So now I'm going to bring you today the intel. Of course, we had the intel that in Ojota, based on the Oduduwa Nation, protests and all of that. So of course, you all know that 3 days ago, 2 people were killed at Ojota side of the Oduduwa Nation, which is in the place that the zoo called Lagos, or the British have called Lagos. And that part of the Oduduwa Nation, that area of Ojota, had two innocent protesters, unarmed protesters that were not a threat to anybody, shot dead, and they were killed. And we had the intel that the military, they have sent the military. They want to now start because the Oduduwas are now coming out, to do the actions on the street. They have decided now to begin to attack the Oduduwa Nation, and coming from all sides. This time around, sending the military to quail. You see, that is why we say a Nigerian cannot reason. Nigerians don't have the ability to reason. How can people come unarmed to protest, carrying their flags, chanting their nation, chanting that they want to be on their own, and then a so-called contraption or a so-called people who call themselves Nigerians will now send people with arms to go and face people who are not a threat? You see, when you look at these things critically, you begin to wonder what manner of people are called Nigerians. How can you send armed security operatives to go meet people who are just standing on the streets with banners, handbills, maybe sound system, and of course their flags and all of that, chanting that they want to be on their own because they were not born Nigerians. They are born Oduduwa. Their origin is Oduduwa. Their origin is Biafra. Their origin, Hausa. Their origin, whatever name is called in the Middle Belt, Bagi, Jugun, or whatever it is called, whatever they are called. These people are protesting under the auspices of their origin. And then you come with arms, ammunition to kill them. Now that tells you that there's something you're doing wrong. That tells those who have common sense that there's something that is wrong, and that there's something that they are trying to take people, by force to become, and that's something they are forcefully trying to sustain, and that is slavery. Because you cannot come with arms against me when what I'm saying is truthful, when what I'm saying does not affect anything that has to do with truth. So when you pick up arms to fight the truth, it simply means that you are evil. And that tells you that Nigeria is evil. And the men who run under the auspices of Nigeria are evil. They came to kill, and then they decided to send the military. As at last night in Ojota, the military, last night, midnight, the military was rampaging the citizens of Oduduwa Nation and other citizens from other nations who are living around that Ojota area. They were going from house to house. By 2 a.m., 1 a.m., midnight, the military people, the Zoo Caliphate soldiers, were going around searching, hitting people's door, telling them to open their door. Some of them, they were able to access their houses. They search around, they're asking them questions. Do you see any Oduduwa protester here? Is there anybody who's connected to the Oduduwa stuff here? Who's connected to? They were going from house to house. I'm talking about last night. We had the intel that they were going to be coming out strongly to try to hunt the people, and all of that, because they think that the people are going to come back to attack them. That's what they believe. They believe they're going to come back to attack them. And the intel was, but the surprising thing is that this time around, rather than just on the streets, being on the streets and all of that, they went house to house. The midnight when people were sleeping, that odd time when people needed to rest and sleep, they went all around banging the doors of people, telling them to open their doors. Those who were able to open their doors, they went in, ransacking the house without search. Of course, the zoo, what has search got to do with them without search warrant? What do they need search warrant for? It's a zoo. It's even worse than a zoo. It's they're animals. They are, you can't imagine somebody asking them for search warrant. You can't ask them for search warrant because we know they're animals. They are less than animals anyways. Because if you talk about animals, you can predict animals because they walk by instinct, But when you say they are worse than animals, it simply means that they behave with the fact that they have senses. It's either you are behaving like a human being or you behave less than an animal. There's no way you can behave like an animal because an animal does not possess the faculty of reasoning. So because you possess the faculty of reasoning, you will not be able to operate in that dimension of animals. Because animals naturally would do the things they have to do by instinct. A lion will naturally kill. A lion will naturally hunt for prey. It is natural. It is instinctive. So you don't blame the lion because that is how it is created to operate. But a human being is created to be civil, to be sane, to behave normally, and then they abuse that process, and then they now want to behave like they behave like wild animals, to hunt and to kill and to do all of that. And because they possess the reasoning faculty, they will not be able to sustain that level of being an animal. They get below being an animal. That is the problem we have about human beings. So that is why you see it is a very dangerous thing. That is why self-defense is very important. It is a very dangerous thing for a human being to decide to do wrong because they possess the concept of reasoning. An animal can be tamed, can be controlled, because an animal have an instinctive level. So you understand, if you see a dog, you know how they will behave, whether the local one or the wild ones or whatever. If you see a fowl or a bird or whatever, you know how they behave. If you see a turkey, you know how they behave. If you see a bear, you know how they behave. If you see a cat, you know how they behave. So you operate with them based on your sensual ability in the way they behave. That is why it is easy for humans to actually deal with animals, because you already understand their idiosyncrasy based on their instinctive approach to things that concerns their natural way, their natural way of behavior and how they are created. But when it comes to humans, it becomes very critical and devious, and it becomes very tricky because these ones are not just operating instinctively based on the fact that there are some instinctive behaviors in humans, but the instinctive side of human is capped with the faculty of reasoning. And because of that faculty of reasoning, it becomes very critical, because in that faculty of reason, you cannot discern what is in the heart of man. That is why the Bible says that the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? Because it has a way of designing its concept and behavior and not letting the next person know what is on that mind. And so that is just it. But you can see the behavior of an animal, and then you can know that, yes, this animal is going to behave like this. You can see the reaction of a cat. You can know that this cat is about to get violent or something is about to happen. You can see the reaction of a dog, and you say something is about to happen here. That is the problem about being a human being. You can't just understand what is in the heart of these people. Now, these military guys went house to house last night in Ojota, seeking in the midnight when people were sleeping, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. They operated until about 5 a.m. this morning. seeking for the Oduduwa nation. Sorry, I'm looking for it fell. Okay, I'm looking for my handkerchief. I don't know. Power supply was interrupted, and so I'm sweating. And I pray that it's restored so that I'll be able to have enough power to do this broadcast today, because it seems that my battery is going low, but God will help us here. It's critical. So now you can imagine this, that they went house to house. Margaret Ojogwe says they can do whatever they like. It will never stop us from getting freedom. Definitely, how can you fight the wind? It is impossible. It is impossible. Animal soldiers. Okolo Michael, they are worse than animals. That's what I'm preaching. That's why I'm making this analysis here. They are worse than animals. They are worse than animals because they behave less than animals. Animals can be predicted. Can you predict them? Because they have the concept of the ability to reason. So they would always behave. But the problem about it in the concept of Nigeria is that rather than that reasoning faculty being alive, the reasoning faculty is dormant, and the emotion, which is connected to also the realm of the soul, which takes information from the point of our reasoning also and our feeling, becomes, which is of course the emotion, becomes dominantly in control. And that is why you see them move the way they smoke weed, they smoke Igbo, they smoke whatever they smoke. They are told, they are given commands, and they go by those commands. And you discover that the commands that they are given is based on their selfish interest. That is why a Nigerian is not an intellectual, because they reason selfishly. And the concept of reasoning selfishly is connected more to the emotional aspect of human behavior, or the feeling, the part that feels, that part of the human that feels. And that is the emotion. So their reasoning does not override their emotion, but their emotion overrides their reasoning. So they do things wrongly. Now they were going house to house yesterday, searching for the people they are going to kill, the people they are going to go take and somewhere and then maim them and punish them and torture them, try to get information from them, and all of that. These are the facts. And this happened last night. Now the information now is that as of yesterday, 20,000, and we have about 20,000 or more of terrorists from Burundi and other aspects of Africa, all in Biafra-land. Now, you see, that is why I was talking about, I was trying to tell, some people in Oduduwa Nation what they need to do and how they need to operate today, and what they need to do from henceforth. Because as much as they are able to access people's houses one after the other, means that there is a template to attack people one after the other. Now, let me tell you something that I want to reveal here as a security check, and for us to know that we have to take swift action, which Mazi Simon Ekpa has already programmed to see that we actually take swift action concerning these facts. Now, let me tell you something. The trick here, the connection, the Connian devious approach with this, with what these terrorists are doing is this. What they are doing now is this. Rather than come all out and start bombing and blowing up and calling out all-out war, and it's making it sound like an all-out war, they have seen it as a very, very unique tactics to just get their men in uniform, and all of that, get their men, in uniform and all of that, so that, to penetrate the communities, just like what they did in Ojota last night. They can come and begin to knock the door. When they find the people they need to kill, they kill them there and all of that. In that kind of tactics, they give you an impression that they are not come for war, but they are just come for search. And in that kind of tactics, the people relax, because the people feel that everybody around relaxes. Only those who know what is on ground, who are actually fighting for freedom and doing the cause of freedom and mandate of freedom, would be the ones that are alert. But they may not be alert in the way they are supposed to be alert, because the impression given here is that they are coming to search. So it is not like the conventional war where they are coming with armor tanks and all of that, shooting and killing and all of that. But this time around, they just penetrate, just like what happened in Ojota, knocking door. Who is here? Who is here? When they open, they suspect that this man is somebody that can be very wicked. They just kill the person, and then, or they take the person away and then kill the person later. In that tactics, they are misleading us to believe that it is not war, but it's about getting rid of those who are coming against a so-called entity called Nigeria. So that is how dangerous the war is now. And that is how they are going to use these Fulanis. They will give them the uniform, they will give them their state uniform, and they will be entering the communities, killing our people and killing our young men. That is why we have to bring the war all out. Now, let me tell you the advantage of bringing the war all out. Because what they are doing is a tactical war. They have called the war. They have called the war. They have called for war already. They have pronounced it by their action. Now, there are two ways you can call for war. It's either you come all out to pronounce it, or you refuse to pronounce it, but just carry actions to give an impression of not a war, so that you don't have this massive resistance against you. The reason why the Nigeria contraption is fighting the war this way is because they don't want massive resistance against them. Because they know they don't have the technical know-how, they don't have the ability, they don't have what it takes, they don't have the human, capacity, they don't have the everything to actually face the people when they come all out. So they tactically take it into action, or take the tactical way of fighting this war. All they need to do is come to one particular community at a particular time, kill some of the young men, take some of the people they need to take, the ones they feel vulnerable, the ones they feel a threat to them, the one they look at, they say, this one looks like somebody that can carry a weapon to shoot and kill us. They take you, they kill you, they carry you away, they bundle you away, and then you are no more found. That is the tactical way of they have decided to make this war and to fight this war. And let me tell you how we are going to end this tactical way, because this tactical way is very dangerous. But the only way to end it is to actually tell them, let them know that we know you are fighting us. We know that you have called out for war. And because you have called out for war, we are going to come all out to fight you. And so the resistance now and this calling out to make them understand that we know will help to safeguard many lives, to help to save many lives, save our economy, save the things we do, and also will help to help us to define how we can handle them. I'm going to say all that to you now. Not correct. Many humans are beasts, worse than animals. How did it take devil to misbehave after the fall? There is no curse upon mankind, and some are offspring of devil. This about you're saying what is not correct by what I said. I said humans are less than animals. You can't behave like an animal. You can only behave worse than an animal. And you're saying the same thing. And you said I'm not correct. You said not correct. Many humans are beasts. No, humans cannot be beasts. They can be beasts, but they can be worse than animals, of course. So if you use the word beast, of course, you can call a human a beast in the sense of that name, beast. But a beast, of course, does not have the sense of reasoning, just like animals don't have the sense of reasoning. So, but if you say a human is less than an animal, worse than animals, yes, because they can't be animals, because they have the sense of reasoning. As much as anyone has a sense of reasoning, they cannot be animals. They either behave worse than animals or lower than animals. It's still the same thing. When you say lower than animals, it simply means that worse than animals. That's what it means. So when I said that, so if you say I'm not correct, then you two are not correct, because you are saying the same thing I'm saying. Because when people are worse than animals, it simply means that they are not animals. They are worse, and that means they are lower than animals. Because animals can be predicted because of their instinctive way. You can know that a lion will see you and start running after you. That's it. You know that a lion will sit here, will stay with its cubs and all of that. A lion will behave this way. You understand how they behave. You know how they operate. But a human is, because of its sensual ability, it has a way of changing its manner and approach and ways of behavior. You understand it. So that we're still saying the same thing, but it seems you misunderstood me somehow, and that's why I said not correct. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you for that, and thank you so much. I appreciate you. You said we are proud of you. Thank you so much, Lucy. To prove that Kelechi is saying that a Nigerian is lower than animal, a dog will not accept a name given to it by a stranger, but a Nigerian would kill to defend the name he's given by strangers. That is it. Because you know why? The sensual ability of that, and because of the power of our reasoning beyond or above our instinct, because of that aspect of us. When that aspect of your reasoning is controlled by a people, or is subjugated or brought to a point of comatose by people, they keep you dormant, because you need your senses to act well, not your instinct. Your instinct makes you do normal things. Like, for instance, you don't need anything to tell you that you need to walk. When you want to walk, you just walk. But your instinct is what makes you just walk, raise your hand and all that. It's instinctive. But we talk about sensual behavior. Your sensual behavior helps you understand and what you should you know what you should accept and what you shouldn't accept. By instinct, a dog knows that the name given to it is the name given to it by its owner, because instinctively it's attached, it grows up and gets attached to the owner. So the instinctive approach to blending with the information from the owner is just there. But in the sense of reasoning, you can decide not to blend with a particular format. But the only way you can find yourself forcefully in that kind of situation is when you are groomed by that. It's just like the child of a mafia. A child is growing up under, just like what these Fulanis do in childhood. They give them guns and all of that. They grow up to become devils and evil because they have come to understand in the level of their reasoning that life is about killing other people. So you see what Emmanuel Biafra is saying here is very, very correct, and all of that. So that is it. You know, thank you so much, Rose Chi. Good to have you again today. You know, what's really, this is a guerrilla warfare. I pray for. They have not even. You see, it is actually. They are not actually using the guerrilla warfare. They are actually coming. You know, using the concept of they are using, let me call it a tactical warfare in the sense of guerrilla, because guerrilla has to do with your ability to handle the enemy in a unique way, and then, you know, be able to put them off guard. You know, this is not guerrilla because they are coming straight to the doors of the people and knocking. It's a tactical war in the sense that the people feel just like those in Ojota now. The only impression that they have in mind is that, soldiers came to our house today, they were knocking. They are looking for those who are talking about Oduduwa. You know, they're looking for those who, that is it to them. They don't see it as a war. You know why? Because the impression there is like we are looking for those who are fighting against your peace. I don't know whether you understand it. Now, the people in Ojota, military, they said these people were over 100 of them came to that area, moving around, knocking on doors, midnight when people should be sleeping. Now, tactically, nobody sees that as oppression or a war, because it is done in a way that looks like it is just targeted at a particular people. But if that is targeted at a particular people who are calling for freedom, it simply means it is targeted at you too. Even if you didn't come out to protest with the Oduduwa nation, you are from Biafra nation, you are from any other nation that is kept in the contraption Nigeria, that particular action of the military is at you also. But because they feel that you have not spoken, you are quiet, you are just moving on because you are not sensible enough to understand what you should be fighting for. They only go for those that they feel are threats to because they need you also to be foolish for them to control you. They cannot control just the land. They need human beings to control also. So all they need is for you to remain foolish, allow yourself to be subjugated, allow yourself to be a slave so that they can control you at that level. But anytime they see that you have a reason and you are now beginning to reason intellectually, you are no more you know, as dull as they are. Because of course, when you are forcing people to be under you, to be your slave, you're also dull. You are not intellectual, because you don't need to keep other people under you as slaves to actually have the ability to be successful. But you know, Fulanis, they are dominant, they are dullards, they are nomads, and of course they are marauders, not just nomads. When you say nomads, you're even making it cheap for them. They are marauders, so they go killing, looking for who to, you know, where to pillage and all of that, and to kill people. So that's what they do. So they came all out today and they began to search. And the people they were searching, going to their houses, opening their doors, opening their doors, and, you know, scattering everything, searching for people. They never saw it as war because it was tactical. It's a tactical way of misleading people to think that all is well. We're just looking at it for a particular people, whereas those people don't even understand that that action, or the action of those military guys in Ojota today, is tantamount to the whole nation of people in that contraption, who are trapped in that contraption, that they are all under siege. That is why Prince said that it's a state of siege. The military, under the name Nigeria, when you have a business empire that builds a military, what does that mean? Because Nigeria is a business name, and now it has a military like a nation, which of course we know it's not a nation, but it has a military. That means it is a kind of thieving organization. It wants to steal, and so it opens the business hold people to ransom, and then builds a militia or a group of terrorists to fight the people who speak, because they're not supposed to speak. They're supposed to be there and allow themselves to be controlled. That's it. They're replicating in Ojota, Lagos, the exact tactics they employed in Igbo land. Yes, that's what they do. Anywhere people rise up, they will bring up that tactics. It's as simple as that. The tactics of the enemies is always the same, in the sense that once you rise up to say the truth, suddenly what happens is that they bring the tactics of trying to bring you down, and all they're going to do is to bring the military. They didn't even send the police. They sent the military. That tells you that they know that the only way they can hold you is to come like they are fighting a war. Anytime military, see, in a sane system and environment, military don't go around in communities and all of that, because military are supposed to stand to defend that particular nation, you know, against external aggression or external control. You understand? That is the purpose of the military. It is not for internal, internal security and all of that. No, it is when things have gone out of hand, where there is a total breakdown, that the militaries can, even at a point, it's even rare. It is always the military police or all of that are sent, or special squads that are sent to do that, to repel internal aggression when it has gone beyond the police. You know, but when you find yourself when you find a situation where the people, the military are easily put into the system, just like the NSAS period, the military came in. Suddenly, you saw them everywhere. Simply means that there is something about what is happening that is a threat to the people who are in power, and they feel that they need force to control you. Yes, Ojota. Yes, correct, Ojota. Animals do not kill their own. That's it. Because instinctively, they don't kill their own. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you. So you see it. So you see now that the military was brought out during NSAS. I remember how that NSAS was, how brutal it was, especially in Lekki. I was there. So I know what happened. You know, the people who died and all of that. We know what happened. So we know now the military were brought in. As soon as the program began, military were sent. As soon as people came out to protest the first day in Lagos for freedom, 2 people were killed by the police. The military has been unleashed. That tells you there is something they are hiding, and they need to forcefully hide it. That is why they go beyond taking the police into the system. They bring in the military because they know the people will dread the military more than the police. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you. That's it. So now let me tell you why it is dangerous to look at this tactical war as just one of those actions within that does not concern you. Let me tell you something. One important thing that you need to survive, thanks, Kelechi, it's time we should overrun all embassies and hunt down these criminals, leaders losing our economy. Yes, we're going to do that, definitely. And Nathaniel, I think you mentioned this yesterday also. You said the same thing yesterday. And I tell you that the package that is coming is having every content that you have mentioned here. Because we know those who are actually doing these things. We know how they're killing our people. You know, we know what they're doing. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you. We know what they're doing. We know what they're doing. So the need for them to use the military, yes, just like we have here now, Mr. Dazan says, intimidation, put fear in them so that they abandon the agitation for Oduduwa nation. That was why they will bring out the military, to make you see that you don't have a chance to speak. You don't have a chance to don't do anything that will threaten the template we are putting down, the laid down template, the design. Everything we are making out of the plan that we have to continue to steal from you. We need the military to put that fear consistently in you so that you don't go against the status quo. That is why the military is always brought out, because they know that when military comes out, the action of the military and the way the military approaches things is deadlier than how the police approach things. So they always want to use the military as a means of sending that consistent fear, putting that consistent fear in your heart, so that you can always renege. So you always renege on your will to seek for something out of the normal. or seek to get out of the status quo. So that's it. So that is why they are doing what they're doing. Now, see what they did in Ojota. Now, as we talk now, as we speak now, as at yesterday, over 20,000 people, over 20,000 terrorists, over 10,000 from Burundi are in Biafra-land. Who is protesting in the middle of the night? That's it. They want to get people, get people, suddenly capture them in the middle of the night when they are not alert. Military, because they are protesting. Doesn't that send a signal to everyone that you are in trouble? Shouldn't that call for a very, very, very critical state of emergency in the heart of the people? But yet, the people over there today, they have woken up. Some of them have gone for their wedding. Some of them have wedding invitation. Some of them have gone for the wedding invitation. Some of them have gone, to their respective, businesses. Maybe some of them are selling in Ladipo or in Dumota, or some of them are selling somewhere and all of that. They are doing their businesses in places. Some of them would have gone for their businesses today. It is just the normal thing, one of those normal things. The military just came. They were searching for those who are seeking for freedom. They are searching for Oduduwa people. They came. They were knocking on my door. They entered my house. So they were searching for Oduduwa people. It will now become a normal talk. You know why? They have subjugated the people to the point where their mind does not process information anymore. Do you know that what happened today in Ojota is a call? It's a call to constructive reasoning. It's a call. It's an awakening that the war has come to you, wherever you are. Mazin Namdekanu said it, that they have their arms, they have their plans. They know where you are. They know everything about your communities. You see those Fulanis guarding the streets. You build gates on your streets and you put a Fulani and Hausa, whether Hausa or Fulani. You see those two people, they are dangerous. Forget about Hausa people are nice. Yes, we know they are nice, but they have been corrupted by the Fulanis. You see those people you put on your gate when you go to live in an estate. You say, hey, we want people to guide us. The first thing that comes into your mind is a Fulani man or a Hausa man. You just put a hand at them, be a security man, bring them and put on your gate. And you think they are foolish to always be there to be seen as security men. They have their plans, massively, their plans. They have their plans. You see those men at your gates. You see those men you put in your compound. You just build one small hut there or small part of the building, and you give them that small structure to live, the structure where they cannot stretch their legs fully. You give them those kind of places, and you think you are doing them a favor, or you are protected, and you give your life, the entire life of your family members, and put them. Some of you will go out. It is the security man that will be there. Your children will still be in the house. You think you are doing, you are worse than an animal. You are worse than an animal. I know situations where the people in the house will leave, their children will return. It is the security men that will open the gate. They will enter. The children and they will be in the house. The security men are at the gate. Hey. Oh my God. Our people need to wake up because they have called for war. You see, some of our people, as I said, are in their business places now, discussing the issue that happened in Ojota. They don't even know that war was brought to them and war has been declared against them. Because one day they will come there and say, you are part of those who are protesting. Because they know that you are able-bodied. Maybe they have seen you are hefty. They'll say you are part of those protesting. They will take you away. Before you know it, you are gone. And your family members will say, the military came here to... They have come for war. Family members will say, hey, they came to our house and they took my brother. They have not seen them, and justice must prevail. And justice must prevail. Now, let me show you something. I'll show you one particular video here. And Master Samaneka posted it on Twitter. I just looked at it and I laughed. You see the Nigeria you're talking about? You see the definition of Nigeria in these INEC officials sitting down and sitting just by a compound, around a compound, around a building, just sitting by the pavement, somewhere around there, sitting down to wait for people to collect their PVC. Not organized, nothing working, like Fulani lifestyle. Nothing in this current age, this current dispensation. You see INEC officials sitting just by one corner on one cemented floor somewhere, sitting down, waiting for people to come and collect PVC. Let me play this video. Sorry, let me play this video, please.
Go on social media and tell INEC to extend the period of collection of PVC. Are you being fair to yourself? Like an adult Nigerian who has not collected his PVC up to this moment, are you not being irresponsible? No, tell me, are you being fair to yourself? I mean, how can you sit at home just to spend few minutes to come clean your PVC will be a problem? INEC, we say INEC is the problem. Now look at INEC. These are INEC officials. They're here. No seat. You see where they're sitting. They're okay. They're not complaining. You.
Did you see that? You know, an American will say, did you fucking see that? Wait, did you hear what that idiot was saying? His problem is not that the INEC officials, he said they are not complaining. He knows that they are not, the way they are sitting and the way they are organized is out of place. He said they are not complaining. His problem is not that out of place. His problem is the fact that people refuse to come out because they don't believe in what is happening. So his problem is that people should have come out to endorse that stupidity that is happening there. Come out and embrace that stupidity, because those people sitting on that place calling themselves INEC officials are an evidence of the stupidity, of the subjugation, of the wickedness, of the corruption, of everything that is going on. He said that is not the problem. Just come out and endorse it by coming to collect your PVC. Endorse. We are not complaining. Don't complain about this situation. Don't complain about Nigeria. Just leave it the way it is. Don't talk about it. Just how can you sit down in your house and you refuse to come and endorse this corruption? And you refuse to come and endorse this subjugation, and you refuse to come out to endorse this level of life. That's what he was saying. That is what he was saying. I'm going to play it again for you to, in case you didn't hear it very well. Listen to it now. He said, "Look at, you say INEC is the problem. Now INEC officials are sitting here. Look at them. Look at where they are sitting. But that is not the problem. They are not complaining. What should be the major complaint? Is it the people who are not coming out, or the fact that the people who are sitting there representing a nation's electoral commissions, a so-called nation's electoral commission, or an organized program that is meant to give the people better life, don't have tables, don't have canopies, don't have chairs, don't have their gadgets, don't have a very organized system to search out to know who is here and who is coming to collect a so-called PVC, and know who is actually coming out here to discuss with them, to require for their PVC, to ask for information about the election and all of that. That is not the that is not the consent to that stupid Nigerian talking. Anytime I call somebody a Nigerian, I know that person is not an intellectual. Let me play it again so that you hear.
On social media and tell INEC to extend the period of collection of PVC. Are you being fair to yourself? Like an adult Nigerian who has not collected his PVC up to this moment, are you not being irresponsible? No, tell me, are you being fair to yourself? I mean, how can you sit at home just to spend few minutes to come clean your PVC will be a problem? INEC, we say INEC is the problem. Now look at INEC. These are INEC officials. They're here. No seat. You see where they're sitting. They're okay. They're not complaining.
He said, look at INEC. Look at INEC officials. Look at the lady. Look at the guy. Look at their faces. They are looking dejected. They are looking frustrated. They are not happy. Look at the place they are, or they were also. Look at that place. Look at the circumstance these guys are in. The guy himself, maybe he's one of their, maybe he's the guy in that small gathering there. You know, they're just looking at him, looking like people who are outcasts, people who are, and he's saying that you call yourself an adult Nigerian. That is where he defined the whole thing. And that is where you have to understand that their situation is very precarious, it's very terrible. Now, he said an adult Nigerian decides to sit in the house. Who told you that anybody who decides to refuse to collect their PVC is a Nigerian? That person is not a Nigerian. No reasonable Nigerian, no reasonable Nigerian will not come to collect PVC, because the reasoning faculty of a Nigerian is to do what Nigerians do, and that is to do stupid things. So he said, an adult Nigerian refusing to. Are you being fair to yourself? Can you imagine somebody who is under slavery, endorsing slavery, pushing forth for slavery, praying forth for slavery to continue, asking somebody who is now, whose eyes have been opened to the fact that what that action of election is actually for slavery, asking that same person that if they are being fair to themselves? Ronnie is talking about tomorrow will be Buhari, Malami will end in ICC, where the zoo is preserved by UK, polluting oil for the economy, but we suffer. We must end it now. You know, Ekweremadu gone. Tomorrow it be Buhari, Malami will end in ICC. You see, the days that are coming, Buhari, of course, we know Buhari. There's no Buhari. There's nobody called Buhari. It's just a name that is actually used to, you know, to control the contraption now. But that name Buhari, because they need that regime, that name that instituted this regime to continue to do this evil, and that is why you see that they talk about Nigeria. Now let's go further on this matter. Now these men are in our land. These men are in our land. Thank you so much, Michael Okolo. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Now, these men are in our land. These men have now penetrated Oduduwa nation. That tells you that aside that, there are other people in the Oduduwa nation community that are the eyes to this Nigeria contraption or the caliphate. How do I mean? This military, they came out and they are going to specific places, specific communities, arresting, killing, seeking for people who are protesting, because they have information from their people who are their spokesperson or their eyes to the community and all of that, who give them information where these Oduduwa nation people are, or those who are protesting. That is why the Fulanis at your gate, in your community, selling sweets somewhere, just put one small kiosk, selling sweets, holding radio, looking at everywhere. Every night you see him sitting down, looking at everybody, looks at your face, you pass, you greet, Aboki, how far? I say, how fine, how you dey? I correct, I did correct. And he's just doing that as he behaving like a fool. And you go, no, whether I did correct, how you dey, how your family? Oh, thank you, sir. They are spying, they are informants. Informants, they are dangerous to you. Now, let me tell you, you see this tactical war, it is very, very dangerous, but potent weapon to the people who are using them when the people who are being the target are not learned and informed. So that is, everyone must understand. You see, all this, I'm talking to these people now, especially those ones who maybe they have not come to your community yet. I want to let you know that this is a key example that as much as the military have come door to door seeking for people, it simply means that we are at war. It's a simple definition. Because if it has been a robbery case, for instance, and they started going around the community, then you will know that yes, there's a robbery. But here is a situation. People came out to protest. 2 of them were killed. They were not armed. They were only carrying flags, sound system, announcing what they're doing, and their phones, cameras, covering everything they're doing. And they were killed and they were shot and killed. Yet, the people who killed them still had the guts to come in to look for others. Not because they are criminals, but because they are protesting. Now, what does that tell you as someone who has common sense? What should that tell you? That tells you that you are in trouble. Because as much as they could come to your door to knock, very soon, when they call the order, when they give the order, an average Fulani will walk to your door and break it open because they know what is in there. They know what is Israel. They know what is in there. But why Nigerian army use guerrilla warfare or tactical weapon and warfare as aimless, armless, innocent civilians? All we need is massive defense and massive attack. Project breakthrough. Okay, I understand. You say we need massive defense, and yes, that's it. And very urgently also, you know, massive defense, massive attack, very urgently also. Now, Emmanuel phrase why Nigeria uses guerrilla warfare. You see, they are not fighting guerrilla warfare in their own communities. They just come, invade, and run away. That's also guerrilla. That's one of the tactics of guerrilla, just like Kehinde also mentioned the other time. You know, even if it's not a full-fledged guerrilla pattern, you know, but it's one of the features of a guerrilla warfare, where you just come in, you know, take the people unawares, you know, you attack them, you kill them, and then you move away. That's a tactical guerrilla. Now you can imagine a military of a particular contraption called a country that organizes and carries out guerrilla program against its citizens, unarmed citizens. What should that tell you as a reasonable person? That is why I said, I tell these e-frogs, I tell all these people, it's either you are a Nigerian or you are an intellectual. And the worst thing that can happen to you is to fight the cause that is. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said something, and that I want to play here. Let me see if I can see that particular video. I think I have it somewhere. I'm going to play it. And Mazi Nnamdi posted it today also, you know, and you know, he talked about you see, our people are under a huge spell, fundamental spell against themselves. You begin to wonder how our people reason, how our people behave, you begin to wonder what is really wrong with our people. Now we're still going to round off because my battery is going low here, and of course I wish I have enough time, because I wanted to preach up to 3 hours today, because there's so many things to talk about and so many things to make people understand in this regard. But however it is, let's see how it goes. I wonder, suddenly it's unusual just to have power outreach. Unusual. It's not usual. As soon as I started the broadcast, we just had a power outreach. It's very unusual for us to have you know, power outreach, but I don't know what's happening. Maybe the system or something is being fixed. I just pray that along the line it comes on again. I even have another meeting that begins from in about 36 minutes from now, and that meeting also requires power. So I don't know how I'm going to be in that, you know. So it's serious. So now
that was what Ojukwu was fighting for. So you can have access to your own resources, but out of your stupidity, your idiocy and foolishness, you sided Abacha, you sided Muhammad, you sided the Obasanjos of this world. Today, all the billionaires you have, not one single Biafran is among them, not one single Easterner. The only thing that you idiots specialize in is fighting those who are fighting for your freedom. That is how foolish some of you are. You are foolish beyond redemption. After fighting Ojukwu from 67 to 70, how is your life today, I ask you? How is your life? It's a very simple question. Ojukwu went to Aburi to go and get restructuring for all of you to make your...
That is the $1 million question. And I ask these e-frogs, I ask these betrayers, these expelled members of the DOS, I ask every one of the people, how is your life? You see, how can you see something that is obviously trying to bring down an edifice or a structure or an empire that has been milking, killing you, and causing you to suffer, causing you to struggle, causing you to be attacked, giving access to Fulanis to invade your land, giving access to Fulanis to enter your borders, and all of that? You see somebody that is doing, or you see a group of people or someone who is doing what to do to bring that thing down, and because you hate the person, because you are angry with the person, because you don't like the face of the person, because you don't want it to be that it is this person that actually is leading us, or how can this person do, who is he? Because of that, you fight the whole thing. I want to remain in the struggle. I want to remain in subjugation. I want to remain in poverty. I want to remain as a slave. If it's this person that's going to bring me out of poverty, out of slavery, I don't want freedom. of course, I'm not just saying it. You have heard most of them say, instead of Mazi Simon Ekpa would lead and bring freedom, let's remain slaves. Now, doesn't that shock you and tell you that something is critically wrong about a Nigerian? A Nigerian does not mean that that person may not be a Biafran. That person may be a Biafran by birth or by origin, or maybe an Oduduwa person by birth or by origin. But the concept here is that they have now become indoctrinated, and the syndrome, just like somebody who is born, you're born, you're healthy, and of course, as a human being and all that stuff, suddenly, you start falling, maybe a disease comes into you, you start feeling sick, a mosquito bites you, you begin to have malaria, and all of this. They are foreign, you just find out these disease vectors, and bringing all of this stuff to you, and now you begin to get broken down. You get broken down, and of course, when you feel malaria, you begin to, malaria can make you begin to see some, have some kind of funny dreams and all of that. So the effect of that is that you have malaria. That's why you talk about symptoms. Now, the symptom of being a Nigerian, when you have been beaten by a Nigerian syndrome, you begin to express the symptoms of Nigeria. That is why you can see a Biafran behave like a Nigerian. And whenever you find people who belong to the nation of Biafra become Nigerians in their reasoning or in their way of life or in the way they behave, you discover that they behave worse. They behave terrible. Because you know why? Let me tell you something about traits. When you have a particular trait, for instance, there's somebody who is very emotional about things, and you can get very, very quickly angry. You discover that trait or that temperament, that's your ability, you can call it ability. That ability goes to the extreme whenever it swings. When you become angry, you become very angry. When you become sad, you become very sad. When you are happy, you become very, very happy. When you love, you hate. When you love so much, you love with all your heart. When you hate very well. That is what is wrong with these people. They hate their freedom to the extreme that they can lose their minds for the mindset of slavery. They can lose their minds for the mindset of slavery. They prefer to suffer than to find themselves in freedom from someone they don't believe or they don't want to take that so-called glory. Maybe let's call it glory now, because to them now it's like, so you will not say who brought us out of who brought us out of slavery. Oh, Simon Ekpa's effort after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was captured. Then Simon Ekpa came up, and who is he? He just came in 2019. He's a COVID agitator. He just came into the struggle. I didn't come into the struggle in 2019. I've been in it for a long time, but I was not functional. I became functional from the time when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu became kidnapped. That is when the spirit came upon me, saying, this is the time to enter. But I've been there all this while, listening, supporting, believing, but I became actively in it. That doesn't make me less active or less important to the movement. For the fact that Simon Ekpa believed in it and began to talk about it in 1999 doesn't mean that because you have been here since 2012, it makes you more important. If you have been here for all these years, are you not ashamed that for 11 years, nothing from you has been prominent? But you can see Mazi Simon Ekpa within the space of 2019, and within the space of 1 year, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. The whole thing has changed. This time around, in media houses are talking about it. Didn't you observe it? Didn't you observe that media houses that refuse to comment this time around, they'll be using other people's comments to bring it in, to chip it in, to discredit Mazi Simon Ekpa or discredit the fight. Formerly, they were not saying anything about it. The other time, they came up with one publication from BBC from one idiot who wrote some stuff, which our spokesperson, destroyed with his response and press release. They came up. Why are they talking about it? Because somebody who got into it. It is not about Jesus made an analogy, and I've given us this analogy before through a parable. He said that a man who had a vineyard employed people to work, and they were working, They discussed the amount they're going to be paid, and they were told, they discussed, they agreed, and they started working. 2 hours to the end of the 2 hours, or how many hours, I don't know, to the end of the day's work, some other people were employed, and they discussed, and the same amount they discussed with the man was the same amount those ones who started working since morning have discussed. At the end of the after 2 hours or 1 hour, the whole job ended. He started paying everybody, and he gave everybody equal share, sorry. And they were saying, "Oh God, we have been here since morning now working. This one just came about 1 hour ago. Why are they collecting the same money with us? This one just came about 2 hours ago. Why are they collecting the same amount with us? This one just came about 3 hours ago. Why are they collecting the same amount with us?" Jesus said that the owner of the vineyard said, "My Oga, or my brothers, what do you mean? When I discussed with you, how much did you discuss? When you discussed with us, we said $20. So you did $20 I discussed with you, I've given you. This one also, the agreement, even if it's 2 hours ago, I also agreed $20 with him. So why are you complaining? It's not about you, it's about you getting your fair share. That is what we discussed. So it's not about what time you came and all of that. It's about what we discussed, the agreement. The agreement here, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it. Whoever knows what to do to bring Biafra, do it. That is the agreement. It doesn't matter whether you were here 10 years ago, whether you were here 2 days ago, or whether you just came last night. If you come last night and you have the templates, bring it on, we'll follow you. If your idea is stronger than mine, I'll follow you. That is me for you. I'm not proud. I'm not arrogant. And that is why we are all backing Mazi Nnamdi, because he's bringing a new dimension, which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu discovered. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been in this struggle from he's the one who began it. He saw a new dimension in somebody who is just coming in, and he embraced the person. That is the spirit. That is the spirit of humility. Because of my battery, I don't know. I wish I can continue, this discussion. My battery is low. I wish I could. I just pray that this this supply is restored, so that Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate your message, and I'm pretty happy that you recognize the grace upon our lives, and all of that. So that is the fact. That is the fact. So don't fight. It is very shocking. It is very shocking that people can fight the ones seeking for their freedom. Today, I wanted to talk about, I wanted to go into the religion thing, but because of the situation, this very major things, and because of time now, that's why I wanted to speak for about 3 hours today, unusually, but because of time, and because of the meeting I have, and also even the meeting, I don't even have I'm not powered enough to do that, and because of the restriction now, the power stuff, I would have been able to talk about that, but hopefully, let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, so I'm going to use that tomorrow to talk about back to base program, of course, and we're going to talk about 4 p.m. Biafra time. I'm going to be talking and discussing with us about religious activities, and I'm going to tell you about how religion, the Christian religion, how Christianity became a religion. How it became a religion from the time when Julius Caesar took over in 64 BC. How he now harmonized the religion of Nimrod and his queen that have been existent, which many nations grabbed. Nimrod instituted a religion. You people have heard of the Tower of Babel. It is a city, and then you had a tower in it. There was a city he built, and then started building a tower before they were destroyed. Nimrod and his queen, that is his wife, Semiramis, her name is Semiramis. They instituted that cult. And every empire that came up had a connection to that cult. The Roman Empire had had that cult also instituted as the control, because Nimrod was so strong and popular. His religion was very tactical because they had this control. They had this spiritual and fundamental, formation that argued about some higher spiritual control over the details of spiritual things. So Nimrod's cult was operating higher than ever. So it became the dominant cult. So when the Roman Empire came in, the Roman Empire also had its own division of the Nimrod cult, which Julius Caesar became the head of it in 64 BC. And this was the same way with all the emperors, all the emperors that were coming up under the Roman Empire until 367 or so, 336, 337 AD, when Gratian now came up and now discontinued the concept of that cult, but they still adopted the concept when Damasus became the the Roman Church, took over the Roman Catholic. They now introduced this concept of the same principles of that Nimrod's cult, and that is how, along the line, Christianity now became a religion. I'm going to explain all of these details to you tomorrow. Join me 4 p.m. tomorrow, because our people need to learn, so that you don't begin to confuse the Christ and the gospel itself with the concept of Christian religion. These are two facts. That is why most of our people are running helter-skelter and condemning what is supposed to save them, condemning the work of Christ, because they have it wrong in their notion. They don't understand this whole thing and the concept of what it is. It's why I don't understand it. Hey, Nigeria's following you yet? That's why we say let them be calling the scores. They will not call the scores. Thank you so much, Lolo, the lady. What has been happening to the military they've been sending? That is why they went to get mercenaries from Burundi. Because the ones they are sending have been sent to judgment, but they are not coming out to say it. They will not say it because they don't want to demoralize others, especially those ones who are still from the south being part of that military. Those ones have been sent to judgment. You know what it means to be sent to judgment. And we have said it, that Mazen Namikano have said it. Unless you don't want the Fulanis to become minor, you don't want fertilizer companies to stop producing fertilizer. The concept of freedom. If you refuse to allow the people of God to go, your first sons, as it happened in Egypt, will go down. Your first sons, as it happened, you know what that means? If you refuse to allow us to go. And we know that the evil in your heart will not want you to allow us to go. Election. Michael, the kind of election they're coming to observe. It's very horrible, smelly things. That's the kind of election they're coming to observe. Look at where the people are sitting. We're getting wiser. Yes, so Mercy Walla. Thank you so much. This time around, it's not going to be easy for them at all. It won't be easy at all. It's not going to be a joke also. We are not going to take it lightly. Yes, we know, full of milk and honey, but yet the milk is being spilled. Oh, it's painful. You can imagine you having wealth, for instance, and then you stop the wealth somewhere and you see termites eating the wealth. Every day you wake up, you see the termites eating the wealth, and you're looking at it and you cannot do anything because your hands are tied. That is the situation that we have found ourselves in the contraption called Nigeria. You are seeing what belongs to you, brand new, very well, your valuables, and all they did is tie your hand, tie your legs. You cannot go. You are seeing them in your presence. An animal or insects are eating those things, and yet you cannot move. Imagine being ruled by nomads, beauty for Christ. Not even nomads, marauders. When you say nomads, they are okay. Nomads are okay. They are peaceful people. They carry cattle around. But when you say marauders, they are criminals, carrying cattle around, raping people, killing them, taking their land, destroying their farmlands and all of that, killing them, taking what belongs to them, wanting to take. They want to take other people's stuff and add to theirs. That's why they are marauders. They are evil. And you can imagine me as my level. I don't know about you. To me, I see I have value. If you don't have value for yourself, I have value for myself. I believe that no Fulani can stand me anywhere in the world. Nobody, no Fulani in this world. No Fulani in this world can stand me in anything. Do they have professors? Do they have scientists? Do they have writers? Do they have speakers? What do they have? I've never seen. If they have, let them bring their best out. Let's see them. We've seen all they can produce. We've seen all they do. So imagine somebody like me and you, that's if you see yourself with that value, being controlled and ruled by marauders, cattle rearers, and killers, all in the name of religion, because they want to, I mean, beautiful Christ, that is so terrible. So terrible. So that's it. We're not going to take it lightly this time around. So, you know, Burundi, I wrote it today on Twitter. Mercenaries, you just posted something about Burundi, but I posted today on Twitter that Burundi have just invoked the spirit of Biafra, you know, against them, and that's what's going to happen to them. Burundi have just invoked the spirit of Biafra, and it is going to be devastating. The spirit of Biafra is going to rise up, and is going to actually deal with them. So they have already invoked the spirit of Biafra, and it's going to be brutal. I'm ending this now because of my battery. I was just trying to buy time to see if they can actually restore power. I don't know what's going on, and all of that. And so, unless nobody in Ojota would comprehend that what the soldiers are doing actually a war against Yoruba nation. They don't understand Chukwebuka. They will not understand, but that's what I'm going to analyze this more tomorrow, emphasize on it tomorrow as I talk about religious stuff. I'm still going to achieve this in tomorrow, 4 p.m. Biafra time. We're going to be here. Today we came up 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. Biafra time, and maybe on Saturdays we are going to be coming up earlier by 1 p.m. Biafra time, and then other days we're going to be making it 4 p.m. Biafra time, so we can actually do lots of things and discuss. And so factually, because of other meetings and all of that, hopefully, let's see how it goes anyways, whether we can retain the 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. on Saturdays. So that's it. Yes, so the people don't know that they are actually they're already in the state of war, but it's a tactical one, and they are thinking that it's normal. Some of them would have gone to their businesses today and just discussing it. They came, they knocked on my door. I refused to open the door. But my neighbor opened their door, and they came and ransacked everywhere. They just make it as a normal conversation, not knowing that it is a serious matter between life and death. Between life and death. That's what happened today. That's what happened today. I hate seeing anyone tagging Biafra and Yoruba together as if they are. They love themselves. It is the Fulanis that actually brought that division. They made it look like Biafrans and Yorubas are against themselves when they brought the issue of Azikiwe and Awolowo and tried to create confusion and making Azikiwe take wrong steps, which got Awolowo angry, and then all those divisions started coming in, and then they started selling that narrative into us. Let's not be foolish. I hate seeing any comment tagging Biafrans and Yorubas together as if there's love among themselves. There is love, but something came in between, and that something that came in between was brought in by marauders, by cattle rearers, and we're accepting it. Yorubas are not the enemy of Biafrans. That's a big fallacy. That's a huge fallacy. I'm telling you, Ifoma, don't get this. No. Don't allow yourself to be misled and misdirected by Fulani and cattle people. They brought that division. Do you know what they did with Britain? They took Nnamdi Azikiwe to UK, forced him to accept to embrace the Fulanis, and he came in and disappointed Awolowo, and that became the division. That instigated the division. Fulanis created the division among wise people who are supposed to be wise. Today they are fighting themselves because Fulanis have put that narrative. We have to destroy that narrative. Ifoma, this is a wrong notion. It is actually, yes, we are being. You are saying let Igbo stop being foolish. You are being foolish by thinking that Yorubas are your enemies. That's where the foolishness is. I'm telling you. That is where the foolishness is. Thank you so much, Obi Uche. Thank you so much. That is where the foolishness is, for you to think that an Oduduwa person is your enemy. That enmity was designed. It's an artificial one that our people, our children bought and swallowed over time. You cannot concentrate on only Biafra because you cannot be free alone. If you are free alone within you, what about the enemies around you? If everybody around you is an enemy, you don't know you are gone. If you only you in a, just like somebody you are in your family, you know, in that big family, only you succeeding, only you bring. Anytime they talk about people who have money, only you will come out. One day they will kill you. So if only Biafra nation is free and only we think about ourselves alone, you don't know where we're gone. You need to think about the Middle Belt. You need to think about the Yorubas. All those nations around you must be protected. They must be. You must have good cordial relationship with them, or else they will be used by the enemies to invade your land. If Niger Delta Yorubas have brainwashed against, there's nothing like Niger Delta Yoruba. You see, this divide and rule thing has really destroyed some of us and our mindsets. How can you say Niger Delta Yorubas? How can Fulanis be dividing things and naming them, and you are buying it, selling it? Niger Delta Yorubas. Where does it? We have Yorubas. We have Oduduwa nation. There's nothing like Niger Delta Yorubas. They divide you. They put some of the Igbos into Kogi, into Benue. Now you are talking about Kogi Igbo. They are no more. You know, very soon now you'll be saying if Kogi Igbo have deceived you people in the real Igbo. Which one is real Igbo and which one is Kogi Igbo? We should stop all these things. That's reason. Igbo Niger Delta. If Igbos fight for only Igbos. In the first place, the name Igbo represents those people who came to that end of the Biafra region, that region. They all are Igbos. That is their original nature. Before now, they were now later named about 400 years before Nigeria was named. They were now named Biafrans. Their original form of existence was Igbo. No matter the language they had, they came together to form that nation as at that time. They were originally Igbos. And what we mean by Igbos means people of old, Igbos. Now, according to how Mazi Nnamdi said it, if you have listened to him very well. Now, later, people started giving themselves different names and all of that. Of course, from that, you started having, building different tribes and all of that. That is good. But still under that same foundational name, Igbos. Even if we had now one tribe now who retained that name as Igbos, other tribes began to call themselves Ijo and other things, But foundationally, they all came from one particular group of people coming together, forming that nation. And that is why you see that the similarities between culture. You see the two-piece rapper becoming dominant. You see some other things becoming dominant and all of that. That is where we begin to have different tribes, and all of that. Having their different food, but still market day is the same, other things the same, because they together planned that nation until the name was changed and they became Biafra nation. 400 years or more before Nigeria was created, which is about 500 and something years now. He said, mind you, Awolowo was used by our collective oppressors. Of course, Awolowo was used, he decided to be used because in the first place, Azikiwe has disappointed him and has betrayed him. So he decided to go more it became a game of betrayal rather than a game of reasoning to know why this one behaved this way and know that the enemy is working against you. It's just like when somebody comes to tell your brother something and your brother now goes to do something against what the two of you have planned, and then you now become angry and now begin to fight your brother. Whereas you didn't look at the person who is actually trying to divide the two of you because he knows the two of you are strong enough to deal with him. He puts that confusion between the two of you and you start fighting each other. That was what happened. The Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo started. Then it extended to the point of the war. The Yorubas, Awolowo, and everybody came in, and because of that betrayal, they saw it as an advantage to actually fight the Biafrans and to make sure that they kill the people. And Awolowo stood there to make sure that they didn't get the money. They were getting 20 pounds. These are simple things. You should know the source of the problem is the Fulanis. They are the ones who are the enemies. They are the arch enemies. Not the Awolowo or Nnamdi Azikiwe. No, they were foolish. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo were just foolish men who allowed the enemy, who is not as wise and smart and as intellectual as they are, to mislead them. Margaret Jogo, thank you for that. Talking about oil. What is oil? When we have many things to do to make money, is it oil? Oil is just one of those things in our economy. It's not. Oil is not the basic. We have so many things that will produce money. So many things. You just watch how Biafra will be. Just watch. Just watch what will come out of Biafra. Ibibia Abam. Thank you so much. I'll talk more on that, my brother, because of I'm looking at my battery. I don't know why power supply is still not restored. It's unusual, you know. That's I'm just looking at the time and the battery here. You know, I'm going to talk more on this matter because our people are misunderstanding this thing. I don't want you to have this notion. No, you should not have this notion. It's not a good one. It's not a good one at all. It's not a good one. Aziko did the same thing by passing his deputy and Professor Eyo Ita and chose another Igbo man, Okpara, to succeed him as premier of the former Eastern region. This made Efik people hate us. That is it. And all these things are always instigated by the same Fulani people who want to bring division amongst us. They put, just like now they are, you can imagine Oji Uzokalo, what's his name, saying that I was the one who brought Ruga into Biafra-land. I brought Ruga. And people are understanding what Ruga means. How can you tell us you brought Ruga? If you want to plant cows, why not do the business with your people? Why must you go and bring Fulanis into your land to do the business when you know that your people are capable of doing business? He was saying that even Biafrans are doing the business. So why was the need of bringing Fulanis to come into that same business when you know their intention, when you know they are killers? It is under the auspices of this kind of business that they are killing your people. You stop them from being part of it. Allow your people to develop that business. It's as simple as that. But yet he's boasting it because he's empty. He doesn't have what? He doesn't have the capacity to reason. He doesn't have the capacity to reason. Eken is the name of market. Eken is the name of market in Nedo. It is 4 days interval. My mother was to rapper. We must go back to history. That's it, not Nathaniel. That's basic. So we must understand the roots. When they today say you are Igbo, they say no, I'm not Igbo. Ask yourself the question: why am I called an Igbo? Go to your roots and find out. Not because the name Igbo is not fundamentally for a particular people. Even if it's just like now, I was given an analogy the other time. I said, if for me now, I just meet a friend. I said, my friend, let's start a business. Let's start a business. And we now sit together. We say, okay, this is how the business. We say, wow, this is how we're going to do it together. We start the business together. We now begin the business. Then at a point, my friend says, I want to go and the business is called, let's say, we now decide that the name of the business will be Program Editor Limited. Program Editor Limited. Let's just put it that way. Program Editor Limited. And we now begin to do the business for 5 years. And we now say, the other one now says, my partner now says, I want to start my own version of this business. So let's split. Now, okay, let's split. I now decide to retain the name Program Editor Business. That one now changes his own name to Program Analyzer, or maybe it changes it to Analyzing Programming Limited. I still retain the former name, Program Editor Limited. Doesn't mean that if you now call this other one, who is a Program Analyzer, you call him Program Editor Limited. Doesn't mean that he is not Program Editor, because he came out of that name. They were together in this thing. We started this thing together, but now he wants to manage his own business. It's just like I've seen some people here call me, Dotland and Dotland Media. I think it's MNK that's always saying that. Well done, Dotland. You know why? Because I was broadcasting under Dotland, and he knows me under the name Dotland. So now I'm broadcasting on BGN. Doesn't mean that because I'm no more broadcasting on that Dotland, I am not also part of Dotland. You understand? So even when you call me Dotland, I understand that you are calling me based on the fact that you know me under that. The same way also, when you are called Igbo, you know that you are being called Igbo. Even if you are an Ijo, you are still an Igbo, because the fundamental name that brought you together, your ancestors together, was that name, Igbo. Igbo. The people of old. That is the name that brought us together. Then later, people now began to choose their different names. We want to be Ijo. We want to have our own language. They create their language. We want to have our own. But still, there is this fundamental thing that brings them together. Their culture, their cultural traditions, their traditions are similar. Look at the masquerade style. Look at the food. Look at the two-piece wrapper. Look at the market days. All are the same because they are all fundamentally together, the same. Oh, my. I feel like continuing, but I can't. I wish I can. And I want to appreciate you guys today. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing lots of exposition on this matter, and I'm going to be speaking on lots of things. Please, I want you to like this video as you're watching. It's very important that we like the videos anytime we're watching, so that when people see it and see, wow, this video has much likes, they want to know what the people like, and then they want to be part of what they like. And then please share on all your social media platforms. It's very important so that people can view and watch and understand what the gospel we're preaching here on this hallowed platform, and see that we're working together to make sure that we get results in what we are doing. Is very, very fundamental. It's very, very, very important that we do all of these things. Ancient people, yes, that's it. Ancient people, people of old, ancient people. That's what it means. So people must understand this. That is it. So we are all ancient people. That's the meaning. So don't think it's because you hear of Igbo language that means they are Igbos. We are not Igbos. We don't speak Igbo language, so we're not Igbos. No, it's not by language. It's not by language. It's not by language. So that's it. That's factual. Okuko. Yeah, you're correct, my brother. You're correct. You're correct. So these are the things we're saying. That is why we have to trace our origin to understand some basic things that we have to understand. These are very, very important. Very, very important. Thank you so much. Our prince is here. Prince Ism, he's here. Thank you so much. I'm delighted. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the compliment. Thank you so much. So that's the fact. So you must understand these things in line with what we're talking about, what we're discussing. Very, very important. Don't just you just get one information somewhere and you just carry it without. You have to be an intellectual. It's very, very important. You're not a Nigerian. If you're a Nigerian, I'll say, okay, unless you want to tell me now that you're a Nigerian. If you tell me Nigerian, oh, I hands off. All I'll do is I'll keep preaching every day until one day you will realize that part of you that is in comatose, and then it will be resurrected, and you now start analyzing things. You get information, process them. When you're called an Igbo, go back and ask yourself, why am I called an Igbo? Go and make your research. Don't think that Igbo belongs to one particular people. Even if I'm bearing that name, doesn't mean that you are not part of it. It's just like you now. You have a family. You have a central name. Your great grandfather that gave birth to your father. Your father had brothers. Their own brothers too are there, and they are now giving themselves different names. And it doesn't mean that you're not from the same source. That's what it is. So you have to understand that in that context. On this particular notion, I'm going to be ending the broadcast here. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., I'm going to be here live, and we're going to talk deeper into these facts, into the facts of security, into the facts of knowing the danger of this technical war compared to the fact that we're going to decide to bring it out open as a full-blown war, because the technical war is more dangerous than even the full-blown war. When it's a full-blown war, the people understand that the people know what to do. But when it's a technical war, the people are confused. The people work more in ignorance than in knowledge. And that's the fact. So I thank you all for watching from wherever you are. Please like the video, share on all your social media platforms, be part of this, and let's be, I'm not going to have Prince Ism here on Mind Surgery Show. He's going to be carrying out more surgery on the minds of our people. And it's going to be very, very effective. A very, very, very effective surgery program on Mondays. What's happening? My stuff is still what's happening. Okay, my battery is low, so it's telling me to stop. It's making everything stiff. So Monday we're going to have that Mind Surgery Show. Please join us on Monday, 4 p.m. Biafra time, and also on tomorrow we're going to go to Back to Base program. We're going to have the Back to Base program. Join me. It's going to be very deep tomorrow, and we're going to discuss more. Please inform other people and let them join us as we discuss our collective interest to the glory of Chukwu Okike, to the glory of Elohim, and what name you call him in your language. I appreciate you, my Oduduwa people. I appreciate you, my Biafra people. I appreciate you, other people from the Middle Belt and other places that need freedom and actually fighting to get the freedom. I appreciate you all. I love you all, and may Chukwu Okike bless you all. And please enjoy your weekend and stay safe and blessed. Thank you so much, and God bless you.